Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the whole you, to be the whole you. My name is Golbeg. If you have not joined me for one of these full moon tarot readings, welcome, welcome. And for those of you who are regulars to this channel, welcome back. Have an exciting episode this week. This is a big one, folks. Like total lunar eclipse, Scorpio, full blood moon extravaganza. So there's a lot to be said about this moon. And you might also notice that my background's a little bit different this week. I am at one of the healing centers that I work out of, Free to Be Healed. So I'm very lucky today to be doing this episode from such a sacredly charged area. Yeah, so I would like to know, like, after you watch this video, like, I'd love to know how all of you are navigating these deep Scorpio waters. So just a little bit about this full moon, just a tad bit, because I mean, really this video could be like a couple hours long if we went into all the details about it. But some of the big pieces are that the Scorpio full moon is at 25 degrees in Scorpio. And then the sun is at 25 degrees in Taurus. So what's really interesting is the moon that's in Scorpio is aligned with the South Node, which is like past life karma and what it is that we are to learn, like what it is that we're leaving behind, so to speak. And then we have the sun that's in Taurus at 25 degrees, and that's aligned with the North Node. And the North Node is like where it is we're moving towards. So it can be like your life's purpose, your passions, what it is that you're here to integrate, what lessons we're here to integrate. So Taurus is also very much about like practical matters, and it's about beauty. It's associated with Venus. So themes like money, health, home, family, practical matters will come to highlight. And it will be influenced, our practical health, like monetary health, physical health, the health of our family and our home. All of that it's like we're going to see it so much more clearly, especially over the next week or so, how the health of those practical matters are very much intrinsically tied to our subconscious and our emotional health and intelligence, and how we navigate our emotional well-being. We're going to definitely start to see if there's been things where it's like we're not really sure exactly how like the past really could be influencing some of these areas of our life. So for example, like it may not be obvious how like trust issues, for example, might be having a ninja-like influence on our prosperity or how we relate to money, for example. But we will start to see how those shadows definitely have a ninja-like influence on these different parts of our lives. And we might even have some aha moments on what it is that could be done to mitigate the influences that we don't really want to have, and be able to even take a look and honor the work that we have done and the progress that has been made, and how we might even be able to embrace some of that work on a whole nother level to bring in some more of the good stuff. So also Jupiter, one thing that really like kind of stood out to me when I was looking at like what everything was doing in the sky today, is Jupiter's at 0 degrees in Aries, which it felt, at least intuitively, that felt very significant. And Jupiter expands anything it touches. And 0 is like the restart button. It's like the start over. It's a new beginning. It's the egg, the cosmic egg. And Aries I mean, one of the things that I really appreciate about Aries in general is this, like, how Aries energy just really honors the sovereignty of self. So with all of this, the South Node, where we've been, what it is that we've healed from, and or maybe even in the process of shedding. Scorpio is also associated with snakes, so like the shedding of the snake skin in order to rebirth something new. And the North Node, where it is that we're moving towards, and our life's purpose and the passions that are heart-centered. And then we have Jupiter that's associated with Aries. And so there is a possibility of reestablishing and redefining our identity and what it is like that really holds a foundation for us. Like, what is it that really makes you feel supported, and who in your life are folks that allow you to feel supported, loved, and cared for in all the ways that you absolutely deserve. So all of these things are definitely being rebuilt, because the North Node is actually in 22 degrees and all of this. And the 22 is the master builder number. And the 25, I mentioned that a couple times with Scorpio and the Sun, that equals to the number 7, which is also a type of number that is about integration. 2, which is relationship. 5 is change. And then 7 is also a number of integration. And I look at 7 as a lucky number. I don't know if that's just superstition or whatever, but I always look at it as kind of a lucky number. So the whole process is blessed. And we're going to take a look at the tarot. And above and beyond what the numerology and the astrology can say to us, what is it that we can directly channel through the cards here on what is it that we specifically need to know? Because there's all these pieces, right? Like the redefining of our identity, which might for some of us even come down to like an egoic death and rebirth, where like everything we thought that we were kind of just falls to the wayside, and we redefine ourselves and how we want to show up again. It wouldn't surprise me if in the next 6 months, a lot of people who watch this might end up going through career changes or relationship changes, or maybe even renegotiating terms within our intimate relationships, close friendships, family relationships, and careers. So these processes oftentimes can be kind of uncomfortable, because human beings, we don't typically like change. Like, let's just be honest. Like most of us, unless like we're in distress, a lot of times we resist change. It's just human nature. If it's not fixed, don't break it. It's not broken, don't fix it, kind of thing. But these processes are exactly what it is needed for us to evolve and to learn higher levels of joy and fulfillment. So even if part of the process ends up becoming uncomfortable, it's going to be totally worth it. I mean, everything that is being shown here between Scorpio and Taurus and the nodes, and Mercury's in retrograde, which at 3 degrees in Taurus, which is about 3 is also a number of communication. So it's very much about revealing hidden truths, hidden information, that aha moment that I was talking about, where like all of a sudden we can see exactly what a challenge is really all about and have an epiphany on what can be done or not done, depending on what the appropriate remedy is. Communication with the self and with the subconscious, and like I said, revealing information that at one point was hidden. Yeah, there's a lot here, and everything points to that whatever work is needed to go through this portal is totally worth it, and will bring us to a place where we have more freedom, more fulfillment, more joy. It just is going to take a little bit of courage for some of us to take those incremental steps through that doorway. So without further ado, let's take a look and see what additional information the tarot can give us. So join me in setting this intention. What is it that we need to know or do the most at this time to take full advantage of the opportunity that this full blood moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio, May 15th, 16th, 2022, has to offer us? We need to know or do. First card that comes up, right out of the gate, my friends. And I'm going to pull another card just for some clarity here, because I'm sure that there's going to be some questions coming up from folks over this first card. And it is the first card is the Tower card. So what's coming to me around this is the egoic death piece. Because the Tower card is about a dismantling of old foundations. So these foundations typically are the kind of things where create stagnancy, but it's the type of stagnancy that we might even be like not exactly happy with, but we're comfortable with it, comfortable enough. It's like good enough kind of thing. And when it comes to pieces of ourself that are a little bit outdated, how we see ourselves, beliefs that we hold about ourselves, our beliefs that we have about our abilities or lack thereof, those type of things also are a type of foundation. And the reason why I say that the Tower card in this particular case is more about a dismantling of a more psychological foundation of like our perspective and how we see ourselves in relationship to the world around us is because the next card that comes up is the Eight of Pentacles reversed. And the Eight of Pentacles reversed is about cultivating and learning new skills, new habits, and new belief systems that are more personal. If it was the other side, we would probably be talking more about extroverted type of skill sets like new hobbies or new career skills or something of that nature. But the skill sets that we are cultivating right now are going to be much more personal. So, for example, we might be cultivating some new habits and skill sets on coping mechanisms, or we might be cultivating some skill sets on our own intuition, because one of the cards that I pulled for clarification cards on the Tower was the Moon card reversed. And the Moon card reversed is about subconscious influences. And in this case too, it's also about our intuition and reframing, repurposing, and perhaps having a new perspective on the things that have kept us back from embracing our gifts and our total courageous self, which is the third card that came up, which there's two cards that came up. And the third card that came up was Ten of Swords, which is about betrayal and past hurts, and the Devil card. So this Scorpio moon has a deeply cathartic message to provide, that whatever it might shake us, the Tower card. So the Tower card usually comes with some shake, rattle, and roll, either internally or externally. And so whatever it is that might be shaking us and causing like a moment of pause of like, is this true? Or self-doubt, trust issues, anything like that that might be coming up, is really an invitation for freedom. So the discomfort comes from the fact that these people in the Devil card, they realize, maybe for the first time with this full blood moon, that they're trapped and that they have shackles on. And and then they realize that there's actually something better. The devil this entire time has had them under the illusion that they have no other choice, and that their reality of indenturement and entrapment is really all there is. And perhaps they didn't even see the shackles. They didn't even know that there was something better out there. And this moon is dismantling the ways in which we have unconsciously been enslaved. So it's all really, really good. But if you don't know that you've been disempowered, and or disempowering yourself for such a long time, this aha may come as a, oh shit. It may not feel like an aha at first, but in order for us to change it, we have to be aware of it. So there's a lot of awareness around like that there's something else better out there for us. And the cards that came up around the Tower card for clarification cards, which are basically cards on like, okay, well, like, how can we support this? Especially because the Tower card's a little intense. Like, so what can we do to create more grace and ease around this? So then the moon, that was when the moon reverse came in. So right off the bat, that tells me that there's especially because there's a lot of Pisces energy around the alignments, that also goes along with the moon reversed. So there's an invitation to take a leap of faith into your own inner knowing, your intuition, and to call upon your divine highest self, which is the aspect of yourself that already has all of the answers. It's the most evolved part of your consciousness. The other thing too is what's also being invited to come to the surface is asking for assistance. So one of the things where we might be resisting, and one of the things that might be how we unconsciously kept ourselves here, is by not surrounding ourselves with the right team, which is the Three of Pentacles reversed, and not asking for assistance and or mentorship when we know that we really would have benefited from it. And that's the Hierophant reversed. So one of the invitations here is ask for help, ask for assistance, and be really real with ourselves on who is your true support team. Not necessarily just friends or acquaintances that are convenient to hang out with, but people who really love you and people who really have just the best intentions for you. And if you're lucky enough to have people who can hold space, meaning that they don't have an agenda around how you're supposed to show up, or they don't have opinions or judgments on how you should be, those people are like, don't let those type of people slip through your fingers. Those are relationships that are absolutely priceless. So the people who really love you and the folks who can hold space for you, bring them in closer. Bring them in closer. There's a lot of heart energy around this lunar eclipse. And very much this could be considered like walking through the portal is walking through like the heart chakra and allowing the heart chakra to expand, which means that there might be some discomfort on like how I'm getting really honest with how the heart has been kind of maybe not treated as honorably as it could have been in the past. Ten of Swords. But that's not how it has to be in the future. North Node being in Taurus, associated with Venus, associated with love, associated with luck, associated with wealth, associated with all the good things. What the tarot is saying is the only thing that we need to do, so to speak, in order to walk through that portal is just be willing to let go, to just be willing to be curious about exploring a different way of being. Don't even have to make any decisions, not in any firm ones. Just be willing to be curious about exploring a new perspective, to be curious about exploring questions that might be difficult to answer up front, to be curious about exploring the nature of the relationships that are surrounding you and if they're healthy or not, to be curious about exploring if the career that you have right now is truly fulfilling and is meeting all of your needs, monetary and otherwise. And if not, what kind of shifts or changes could be made in order to create more fulfillment and more support in all ways. All we have to do is just be open. Be open to asking the questions and knowing that in the right time, the answers will show up. They will show up. Let's see, I feel like we have just a little bit more. The Ten of Swords, past hurts. What can be done in order to heal from these with the most grace? Okay, so 3 cards that come up around this. The first one is Four of Swords reversed. The need to meditate and to rest, self-care, be gentle with yourself. You, more than anyone else, deserve your grace, love, and care. Be compassionate with yourself and give yourself as much time and space that you need to heal, meditate, go within, journal, doing intuitive exercises. All of those things would be really beneficial at this time and will last the next 6 months and maybe even beyond, because the influence of this moon will be over the next 6 months. It will change everything. And then we have a couple of cards here that are more practical in nature. We have the Ace of Pentacles and we have the Four of Pentacles. So it's very possible that a lot of these shifts and changes might express themselves through practical matters, such as home, family, and monetary flow. They both came up right side up. So it might be a good idea to save your pennies, your dollars, save, and not necessarily in a hoarding way, but save for a rainy day. And look for opportunities where you can be supported monetarily. So because the Four of Swords came up, this wouldn't necessarily, it would be less likely that the monetary support would show up like getting a side gig, something that would take more of your energy, because when the Four of Swords comes up, it usually means that we're already energetically kind of depleted. But this would be more like passive income or something that you're already doing that might be expanded or shared in such a way that might benefit you to support you and your livelihood even more. So for example, if you have a hobby where you make candles or you make jewelry or you paint, but nobody really knows that you do these things, and you have like all of these candles, all this jewelry that you aren't really moving except for when you give them as gifts, it might be worthwhile to share that and give people the opportunity to invest in your arts and crafts. Or it might be a passive income where you invest, even if it's micro investments to help your money grow. So there's this calling to meditate, go within, and then take some of that divine guidance and to put it into very practical, very concrete ways in order to rebuild a new foundation for yourself in general. So it's really like this beautiful amalgamation, this marriage where the spiritual or the magical and the mundane are meeting. And we know, and it's like this moon is saying, you don't have to compartmentalize yourself. Like you're the whole thing, right? So it doesn't have to be the spiritual self versus the practical self. The spiritual self can influence and educate how best to show up in the practical world. We are really, this portal is opening up the opportunity for us to bring heaven to earth. To bring heaven to earth. And the portal through that is the heart. So there might be some messiness in the process. I mean, come on, the human experience is a little messy. So, that's to kind of be expected in a lot of ways, especially when it's something that's like such a big change. But the messiness, it's okay because it's temporary. And as long as we're asking for support and we're asking for the help that we need, that will make all the difference on how we transition to when we get to the other side of this and we look back. I think all of us are just going to take a big sigh of relief of like, that might have been hard, but it was so worth it. Freedom and joy, they're up ahead. We might have to get through some choppy waters, but greener pastures are lying ahead. So thank you, my friends. This has been an honor to share this sacred space with you. If you are in need of a reading or are needing assistance to help out with shadow work, inner child healing, things of that nature, habits and patterns that are showing up in your life that seem to not be resolving themselves, please give me a shout out. There's no reason to suffer alone. We can work through it. You can reach me at info@BeTheWholeYou.com, or feel free to check out my website at www.BeTheWholeYou.com. We do have a podcast that's coming up this week, and the next podcast is going to be accessing the secret powers of the heart chakra. I promise you that I was not thinking about the fact that there was going to be a full moon in Scorpio and that there was going to be so heart chakra related when I chose to do this podcast on this week, but nothing's an accident, right? It's all synchronistic. So I look forward to sharing that with you later on this week. All right, folks, take care, and I will meet you back here, same time, same place, in a couple weeks when we explore what this next new moon has to share for us. Take care. Bye.